What is up, guys? We have a loaded MLB slate today on this April 9th. There's 15 games today. Every single team is playing, and there are a bunch of day games as well. So be sure to get your bets in early if you are betting on the MLB today, which I'm sure you are if you are watching this video. I had a very good day yesterday. We only missed out on one or two of my plays, but a lot of them hit. We had a nice 6x on Underdog Fantasy that I posted in the Discord too. So if you're not in there yet, feel free to join. The link to join is in the description below. Now let's head over to Roto Grinders, take a look at the weather report for today, see what we have going on. Looks like there's only one game that we need to worry about. It's this Texas at Chicago game at Wrigley Field. Looks like super cold, windy, on and off rain, so it might be delayed. They may even postpone it. I'm going to lean with a delay and play, but we'll see early on in the season. But really no other situations we need to worry about for delays or anything, but probably stay away from the pitchers in Texas at Chicago for today. Like I mentioned, there's 15 games today. I'll be showing you guys a bunch of my plays on Outlier. So let's jump right into the plays here. So first play I want to talk about is Randy Vasquez over 2.5 earned runs. Is this A Stadium in Sacramento the new Coors Field? There were a bunch of home runs being hit last night. You know, we had historic run numbers and home run numbers so far through the first 5 or 6 games or so in Sacramento. It makes a lot of sense because the Pacific Coast League in minor league baseball, that's the AAA level on the Pacific Coast. It's the highest scoring league in all of baseball, including major leagues, minor leagues. It's the highest scoring league. So it makes sense with the ballparks and the altitudes and the way the ball flies in these parks for it to be similar to Coors Field. Randy Vasquez really struggles against left-handed hitters with a 4.01 WOBA against lefties and a 5.91 xFIP. I know the A's, they're not a great team at all, nothing special, but they do have a lot of power, and this ballpark is certainly going to work in their favor. I don't have too much data to show on Outlier for this one because it's not going to fit a lot of the trends here because he doesn't pitch in ballparks like this very often. He has one outing in Coors Field where he gave up 4 earned runs, and that was way back in early last year, but that's pretty much the only thing I can compare it to, but with the way the runs are being scored in Sacramento, I can't take any unders on any pitchers in that game. So next play I'm going to touch on here is Logan Allen, over 4.5 hits allowed. The White Sox are terrible. They are really bad, historically bad team, probably going to lose like 120 games or something this year. They're terrible. They're also the second worst team in the MLB with a 210 WOBA against left-handed pitching. However, Logan Allen has given up 5+ hits in 16 out of his last 21 starts, including 2 starts against the White Sox where he gave up 7 hits and 6 hits. He allows a 415 weighted on base average to right-handed hitters and a 356 weighted on base average to left-handed hitters. So gives up a lot of hard contact, gives up a lot of hits. I know the White Sox are really bad, but so is Logan Allen. He's probably not going to go too deep into the game. He throws usually like 85 to 90 pitches normally. Occasionally gets up near 100, but more than likely scenario is 85 or so pitches. But I do think he does give up at least 5 hits in this game if we just follow those recent trends. Next player we're going to touch on is Taijuan Walker, over 2.5 earned runs. I'm expecting a decent amount of offense today. I know the weather's been cold. Offense has been down generally around the league, but I think the lines are accounting for this at this point too, and they've lowered them a bit, and so we are getting some pretty good value on a lot of runs being scored for a lot of these pitchers basically today. But basically, Atlanta hasn't looked great. Walker's going up against the Braves today in Atlanta, but Walker is far from good. He allows a 428 WOBA to right-handed hitters and a 376 WOBA to left-handed hitters. He allowed 3+ earned runs in 10 out of his last 12 starts. So if you go here, it's actually 12 out of his last 15. But if you get rid of these last 4 games, it turns into 10 out of 11. But then he had a 1 start this year where he didn't go over. So anyways, 10 out of his last 12 starts. The only issue is he usually doesn't cross over 85 pitches, similar to the Randy Vasquez scenario. But I do think Atlanta will get to him. He'll probably give up a home run or two. I'd lean, Marcell Ozuna or maybe even Austin Riley to hit a home run today. I know they have some really good BVP against Walker. You have Matt Olson hitting 300, Riley hitting 417, De La Cruz hitting 391. Michael Harris, 2 home runs and 5 at-bats against Taijuan Walker. So some really good BVP against him today, and I do think he gives up 3 or more runs to Atlanta. And I do think that offense is going to get it together at some point. I know they had a really slow start out on the West Coast. They had a really good win last night against I think they won, but they had a really good offensive showing last night against the Phillies, against Zach Wheeler and the Phillies bullpen. So I do think the Braves do get it together tonight against Walker. Next play, my last pitcher play I'm going to touch on is Kikuchi, under 2.5 earned runs. Now, this doesn't really follow too many trends. You see, if I'm looking at his last, full season with the start, he only went under 59% of the time. Go for away games, 57%. It doesn't really show anything significant. But the reason why I'm taking this play is because I think George Steinbrenner Field is the number one pitcher's ballpark in baseball when it comes to home runs. I don't think there are going to be a lot of home runs hit in this field in Tampa Bay. I live in Florida. I've seen a bunch of games in the Florida State League. I know how the league works, probably better than most people do on this platform. There are not a lot of home runs that happen in this league. I know the ballpark is similar dimensions to Yankee Stadium, but the air density and the humidity, it's just so difficult to hit home runs in this league. And as we saw last night, I forgot who hit it, but there was a massive pimp job and that didn't even cross the wall. There's a huge bat flip. I forgot who did it for Tampa Bay, but you can see it on Twitter if you haven't already. But the guy thought he got all of it. He thought it was long gone. It didn't go over the fence, so it wasn't even close. So that just shows how difficult it is to hit home runs in this park. Kikuchi, if he's not giving up home runs, he's actually pretty damn good. And Tampa Bay is terrible against left-handed pitching. Tampa Bay has a 194 weighted on base average against lefties, and they haven't hit a home run against any left-handed pitchers so far this season. So I think Kikuchi can survive his home run problems against righties in this ballpark, because that is really the only thing that knocks him down for runs is when he gives up the long ball. But if Tampa's not hitting them, I think he stays under this 2.5 earned runs number. And then the last play I want to touch on, it's really a bunch of plays, but we'll focus on Chourio, over 2.5. Oh, I actually marked under, but it's really over 2.5 here. So over 2.5 hits, runs, and RBIs. They're in Coors Field today, and Senzatella's pitching. Senzatella's been injured the last few years, and he's just getting back in the swing of things. Even when he was pitching, it's still Coors Field. He has struggled at Coors in his career. And Chourio last night, 5 hits, runs, and RBIs after a 9-game at Cincinnati. It's just a really good spot for him today, and pretty much I'm taking like everyone on Milwaukee today for their overs. It's Coors Field. Colorado I'm probably going to stick away from, but then I'm also taking a bunch of overs in that Athletics game out in Sacramento. So that's a little bit of insight for you. Those are my free plays for today. If you wanted to see all of my plays and all of my analysis for every play I made, sign up for my premium package. That link is located in the description below. If you don't want to sign up for that, at least join the free Discord server. We have a really good community, and hopefully we're going to have a really good MLB season together. Plus, the NBA playoffs, 1 week away. I had a huge NBA season, so you don't want to miss those picks. Best of luck tonight, everybody.